Hi, welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. This is the California Real Estate Transfer. It's the TDS, the California Transfer Disclosure Statement. This is my third video in a row. We're going to be talking about that today. It's part of. Let me just pull it up over here. Oh wait, you can see it right now. Okay, that's cool. Let me move this picture out of the way, and that's me. This is my website here at winnerscheck.org. This is where the free home sellers disclosure workshop is. It may become a nominal fee, but right now you can go in there, get a lot of training and information about the forms and alternative forms, not the California Association of Realtor forms. And here is a training video I've already got out there. I'll probably put this one in there too. And here we click on the California Transfer Disclosure Statement, and here's the car form, and there's an alternative form here. Here's a car booklet, and there's the exemptions. Now, let me just go over this. If you're a homeowner selling to a professional buyer or cash buyer, my understanding of reading the law, which is in here, is you're not exempt, right? I could go over the exemptions. We might in further ones. You can click on it to see who are the exemptions, but most likely you're not going to be an exemption if you're an owner selling to somebody else. If you were getting divorced and it was going from one, like you're the wife, it's going to the husband, or vice versa, I think that is one of the exemptions. If you're a government agency, that's an exemption. So the exemptions are covered in here and in the law. You can see it in two places in here. But now let's go over the disclosure statement itself. Let me just hit save, and then I'll open it, and we should be ready to go. So, again, as I've in this series, it's great to disclose. It helps insulate you from liability after you sell. The idea is that if you've given all the material facts and you've disclosed them properly, then after the buyer buys the home, new issues or issues you didn't know about become the buyer's problems. They can't come back after you, or at least they shouldn't be successful if they tried. And that should make it difficult because lawyers aren't going to be taking these cases on contingency too often, so they'd have to put a lot of money into going after you unless they can convince a lawyer there's fraud or misrepresentation, because then it becomes more interesting for the lawyers too, especially if they can bring in their realtors. So don't let your realtors, but in most circumstances, do this in your own handwriting. Letting the realtor fill out the form and then you signing it can be a problem. Have I done that for clients? Yes. When I judged it to be worth the effort because I didn't think the client was going to go squirrely on me. They had multiple properties to sell. I wanted to make it easier on them. They had already done it once and I just redid it. I took the chance. I'm a lawyer. I felt like I could defend myself. My client wasn't going to come after me, but that's a bad practice. Normally, fill this out in your old form. It keeps your realtor and their brokerage from being capable. Like if you're a lawyer and you're looking at my client, someone should have known this roof leaks. The real estate agent probably knew. The broker, I have reason to believe that. The seller certainly knew. I'm going to sue them all because there's probably insurance there. You know, the brokerage probably has some money there. We're going to get my client some money. I'm willing to take it on a contingency fee. That's the scenario I think most people want to avoid, right? So fill this out in your own hand. Sign it yourself. Give it to your realtor. Deliver it to the seller, or the seller's realtor. And in fact, well, there's other things if you're a broker. I'm not going to go into that right now. So let's just read it, and then we'll go over it. It's not that complicated. It's a lot easier than the SPQ, in my opinion. So this statement is disclosure of the condition of the above described property in compliance with Section 1102 of the Civil Code. As of boom, I say if you learn something new, change it. It is not a warranty of any kind by the sellers because the property is being sold as is. Basically, if you're doing this right, the property is being sold as is. The buyers are right to inspect. The buyers are right to ask you to fix things up, but it's being sold as is. If you complied, if you're found to have complied by disclosing material facts within your knowledge, then you're good, or you should be good. Let's put it that way. It is not a warranty, so you're not warranting anything or any agents representing any principals. It is not a warranty of any kind by the sellers or any agents representing the principals in this transaction, and it is not a substitute for any inspections or warranties a principal may wish to obtain. You should inspect the property. I'd say get separate inspectors. I've talked about in the other videos. A separate one for the pool, a separate one for solar, a separate one for the home. And hopefully your guy's good with roofs. Now, or gal, your inspector. This real estate transfer disclosure statement is made pursuant to the code. Other statutes require disclosure. Yeah, there's plenty of other statutes we've covered in other videos. But most of those are being covered in the if you're working with escrow, you're working with the realtors, they're mostly going to be like the Megan's Law, the lead-based paint. These things come out. Natural hazard disclosure covers a lot. These are the big ones that I believe everyone should do before they even hire a real estate agent, before they talk to a professional investor or a cash buyer. Because one, this is going to help you determine how you should price your home, what you should be expecting, where your starting values are. We're going to cover that in another section about how pricing your home. But this, I don't even know until you go through this stuff, you can really judge your assessment relative to the other properties in your neighborhood of your age. Now, so the seller discloses the following information with the knowledge that even though this is not a warranty, prospective buyers may rely on this information in deciding whether and what items to purchase, what terms to purchase the subject property. Deciding whether and on what terms to purchase the subject property. Seller hereby authorized agents representing any principals in this transaction to provide a copy of this statement to any person or entity in connection with any actual or anticipated sale of the property. The following representations made by the seller are not the representation of the agents, if any. If this information is a disclosure and is not intended to be part of any contract between buyer and seller. That's a technical thing we don't need to go into there, but it's important. Seller is or is not occupying the property. Then you're going through this and saying, basically you're saying the subject property has these items, boom, 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 boom. And are there, to the best of seller's knowledge, any of the above that are not in operating condition? Yes or no? Now, here's just a tip. In theory, you could be transferring the property with a broken microwave or dishwasher or trash compactor. And if you're selling this up on the MLS, you could be already saying these things. But I believe that's improperly setting buyers' expectations. I mean, if you can take out the trash compactor and put a cabinet over it, I'd say, but you don't want to replace it, I'd say consider doing that. With just burglar alarms, everything else. Don't give their inspector a chance to go through and say, these things are broken, make your house look like a wreck, and make the buyer think they're paying too much and want to negotiate a lower price with you or have you repair all these things. So in my experience, like, let's say central air conditioning. I've seen reports where my clients have removed the air conditioner, and I've seen reports where the inspection people said there's no air conditioning in the house, although it looked like there was, I forget, the cement pad that the air conditioner sits on, and it looked like there had been an air conditioning unit, a central air unit sitting there, but it's not there now, right? I think that's a lot better than having a broken one sitting there in most circumstances. Now, hot tubs. I've had problems with these. My clients, the hot tub's working, but my clients want the hot tub to transfer. So you need to say hot tub transfers to buyer on the MLS or in your sales brochures. But if you're doing that, you sort of want to make sure, basically, above ground hot tubs are expensive for a lot of people to move because cranes could come in. Sometimes you have to bring in a crane to pull it back out because that's how it got there, or it got there before other houses came in, or it got there in the driveway. And there now, well, I don't need to go into specifics, but you need to think about all these things when you're selling your home. And if you're not planning to repair it, I think most of the time the better thing is to just remove it. Now, and the other thing is, for the rest of them, to help ease the buyer's minds, provide or make sure the buyer purchases, or you should purchase, the homeowner warranty from a reputable warranty company, so that they can say, well, at least I know my refrigerator is going to work for a year, or my, ranges can actually be on wheels and they might move, but that causes problems. So if you're going to remove the range, you should state that on the MLS and as part of the contract. So anyway, you're saying these things were there, and you're explaining whether they're repaired or not. And yeah, you could transfer broken ones, but it's usually not a good idea. It doesn't set the buyer's idea properly, unless, of course, your home's a total fixer-upper and you already know, and the buyer already knows they're going to come in and redo everything, like redo the whole kitchen. Then it's not going to be a problem either way, right? Are you aware of any significant defects or malfunctions in any of the following? Interior walls, ceilings, floors, exterior walls, insulation, roofs. Now, you could say yes. No one could transfer that way. If you're going to be saying yes to this, you should provide these things to everybody. I would provide them to, as everybody's coming through the home. Have your agent or you make sure they see all this stuff and tell them to read this. You should read this before you make offers on the property. This way, it sets buyers' expectations properly. I would include it. Okay. Many home sellers want their realtors to make beautifully flowery language about their home sale. Now, if your house is supposed to be that way, then, and that's what you want, I think it should be that way. What you don't want is people coming in expecting to buy almost a brand new home that's beautiful in a great neighborhood, and then they see reality, and then they just go to themselves, these sellers are crazy, right? What you're selling, the proper way to sell a home is to sell what you love about the home. Steps to wherever, shopping, the beach, great schools, playgrounds. What other, sell the truth and the thing that attracted your home or would attract others. Hit on that, but don't act like your home's something it's not. I've had sellers. I've sold over, as a broker, over 200 homes. I've advised on many others. I've gotten top dollar, multiple offer bidding so many times by providing facts and explaining why the home's great, then the flowery language that some sellers and some realtors and some people teach about, and they put it in there. And then sometimes you've improperly set buyers' expectations. But I'll do it. If my clients want me to do it, I will do their flowery language as long as it's not misleading. So again, setting buyers' expectations and talking about what's great is really the way to go, in my opinion, my experience. Don't try to sell. So if you've got a lot of these things in not good shape, don't try to sell it the wrong way. Your idea is to not get hundreds of buyers to look at your home that are upset. You want buyers who come to your home and go, oh, this is great, because they already know the problems and they see the stuff that they like. You don't want them to go, oh, look at all these problems. They acted like this home was great. You're going to have, that's buyer psychology. It takes experience to know that. Or common sense, really, I guess, right? And then you explain it. Now, that's where really this comes in. I talked about this in the other thing. You don't want to say these repairs are fixed. You'd say there was once a problem, and we had so-and-so come in and repair it, and this is the report they gave us. Here are the bills. And you could say, and since they've been here, we've no longer experienced the problem, if that's true. I'm less likely to say it was repaired. Like, we had a leaky roof. I don't know how, with the roof, I have to think about this. So the roof came in. We had a roofing company come out. They came out. They made repairs to the roof. We've no longer experienced the leaks, or the roof no longer leaks. You don't want to say the roof's been fixed, because there may be other leaks, or you could say the roof no longer leaks is really the way to go, right? We've had the repairman come out. Here's their report. The roof no longer leaks. Because there could be, on older roofs, if you've repaired a section of your roof, there may be other sections that leak in the future. As a homeowner, I know that we've had, when we got solar, we got the whole front of the house leaked, and then like a year and a half later, we had some leaks in the back, and then those leaks around the chimney in that area, when the shingles, not the shingles, but the barrel tile was removed, we saw where there was wetness. We laid down new laminate, sealed some things around the chimney, and we did a section of the roof, and now the roof no longer leaks. That's where the leaks were. There's no longer leaks. But if I were selling the home, I wouldn't be warranting. So there's 2/3 of the one-sixth of the roof hasn't been repaired. I'm not going to say the whole roof's repaired, right? So that's what you want to do with all this. Now, flooding, drainage, or grading problems. Now, if you've already sold your home and an inspector came out and you read that inspection report, and let's say a different buyer comes by, you now know that almost every time an inspector says the property it should be sloped away from the home. And almost every time I've seen that that's not the case all around the house, and the inspectors love to see this. Well, now you're aware of it, so you just say, we were told that the property should slope away from the house. See the inspection report. We're not planning to repair this. And that's how I would answer these questions. Now, you want to answer the call to question. If you can explain it in a way that's truthful, that may give context, so the buyers feel better about the property, you could do that. But I'd say do it with a lawyer, do it with someone experienced, because you don't want to answer too much. You don't want to create problems. So if you're not working with a lawyer, just answer the call to question. Don't give more or less. If you have repair reports, put them in there. Just say, we haven't experienced these problems since this expert came out, or this company came out and did repairs, and then you're done. If you want to do more to explain the context, you can consider it, but be careful. I'd prefer you were working with me, which is why you can go here and ask questions, and we'll see if we can cover it during our live free workshops that we'll have before we put them all in the course. And I think I said this in another video, I haven't even done it yet. I will set up, if you want to have a half an hour might be too late. I don't know whether I'll do half an hour, 50-minute consultations, but 25-minute or 50-minute consultations. But you can set those up at a major discount if that's what you want to do before you want to get started. The seller certifies the property as the close of escrow will be in compliance with 13118 of the Health and Safety Code by having operable smoke detectors, which are approved and installed in accordance with the state fire marshal's regulations. Now, I've done this for my sellers many times. This comes up, the inspector comes out and says, hey, we didn't see this stuff. I go out and I go to Home Depot and I buy a pack of 2 or 3 of the portable ones, and I put them where the inspector said they're supposed to be. Ideally, you do that before the bank sends out the appraiser, and you get those things in. And then the sellers come in and they can put them where they want, but I'd say put them in safe spots, right? Now, this is for the agents. We'll talk about agents at another time. And buyers and sellers may wish to obtain professional advice and or inspections of the property, and to provide for appropriate provisions in a contract between buyer and seller with respect to any advice, inspections, defects. So in other words, that's going to this fact. If you're using the California Association of Realtor contracts, the buyer is buying the property as is, subject to the right of the inspection. The buyer then does the inspections and then can ask for, but not necessarily receive, repairs or some sort of, like, let's say there's $14,000 repair, they're going to take too long. You might say, I'll take $7,000 or $10,000. Now, you have to do this in a way that doesn't cause problems with the lenders, if there's a lender. If you're selling the home as is, and you don't want people to come back and do the inspections and then ask for more money, you might want to disclose that in the listing materials on the MLS, or if you're doing it on your own, just say, hey, we're selling the property the way it is because we don't want any hassles. Now, if you're selling to her, because of that, you may think, well, I need to sell to a professional investor, and that may be true. I say bring in as many. Okay, so with a cash investor, they're frequently going to come out and say, hey, we can do offers in 2 days, but they're still going to inspect the property. This is where it gets tricky, because sometimes they come out and say, oh, we need a lower price. We were wrong. But they try to win, get you under contract, and then some of them try to come back and lower the price after their inspection. So you have to be prepared for that. Sometimes there's middlemen trying to lock up your property, and then they're going to flip it out. So they buy it, and then they hold it for whatever the inspection period. After the 48-hour offer, then they have an inspection period and time frame. They try to control at that time and find a second buyer. You need to be aware of those things. And many times a cash buyer who fits in the middle of a buyer who needs a loan and an investor is really where you're going to find your sweet spot. We're going to talk about more in our course and in our other courses, right? How to get the top value for your dollar and sell quickly. We're going to talk about that more in other videos inside our courses, including this course. But for now, that's the California Transfer Disclosure Statement. My name is John McConnin. I'm a real estate attorney and a broker in California. So this applies to California people, and you can sign up for our free home sellers disclosure workshop. It's free as of today. It might become a nominal fee, a small fee soon. So go ahead, check it out. It's right here, the blue. I've got other opportunities to work with me. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.